Ajith Kumar, a 29-year-old man full of life and potential, hailing from a modest background where dreams were nurtured and aspirations took flight. He was a son, a brother, perhaps a friend or a husband. His life took a devastating turn when he was arrested by Sivaganga town police. The circumstances surrounding his arrest would soon become a subject of intense scrutiny and public outcry. The arrest stemmed from a theft complaint filed by Nikita, a local resident. She alleged that Ajith had stolen gold jewelry from her car, an accusation that would ultimately lead to his tragic demise. The police acted swiftly on the complaint, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the lives of those involved. What should have been a routine investigation, a standard procedure to ascertain the truth, turned deadly, a chilling testament to the potential for abuse within the system. Ajith died within hours of being taken into police custody. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the community, igniting anger and disbelief. The official story presented by the authorities was quickly challenged by the public and media alike. Doubts emerged almost immediately about the credibility of the initial theft complaint, casting a shadow of suspicion over the entire investigation. Further complicating matters, the complainant, Nikita, had her own criminal history, raising questions about her motives and the validity of her accusations. Contradictory statements from witnesses and inconsistencies in the police report further fueled the growing sense of unease and mistrust. The suspicious circumstances surrounding the alleged theft itself added another layer of complexity to the already murky situation. These factors collectively raised serious questions about why Ajith was arrested in the first place and whether due process was followed. His death in custody, while under the complete authority and supervision of the police, is a chilling indictment of the system. It exposed a devastating failure of the very system that is meant to protect citizens, uphold justice, and ensure the safety of all individuals, regardless of their background or circumstances. Ajith's case is not just a statistic, a mere number in a report. It represents a life lost, a family shattered, and a community traumatized. It's a stark and painful reminder of the dangers of unchecked police power and the potential for abuse when authority is not held accountable. It highlights the catastrophic consequences that can arise from abuse of power within the system and the urgent need for reform. The tragedy has ignited widespread outrage and protests, with people taking to the streets to demand justice and accountability. They are demanding answers and seeking assurance about the sanctity of life and the guarantee of justice within the walls of police stations. The journey from a simple theft complaint to a custodial death, a timeline marked by questionable actions and devastating consequences, reveals deep systemic flaws, a profound disregard for human dignity, and a justice system that has failed to protect its citizens. The post-mortem report on Ajith Kumar was damning, a stark and unsettling account of what he endured in his final hours. It was a meticulous record, painstakingly compiled by forensic experts, revealing a pattern of abuse that could no longer be ignored. 44 external injuries, each a mark of violence, were meticulously documented. These weren't superficial wounds, they were deep, telling a story of sustained physical trauma. Each contusion, laceration, and abrasion spoke volumes about the brutality inflicted upon him. Injuries covered his face, a mask of suffering. The delicate bones around his eyes and nose were fractured, indicating repeated blows. The report detailed the specific areas of impact, painting a grim picture of targeted violence. Limbs bore the brunt of the assault, with signs of twisting and blunt force trauma. Fractures and dislocations were evident, suggesting attempts to restrain and immobilize him while inflicting pain, and torso showed extensive bruising and internal damage. The report highlighted the vulnerability of the abdomen, where vital organs were unprotected, making the injuries particularly life-threatening, with internal bleeding confirming a sustained brutal assault. The hemorrhaging indicated that the trauma was not just superficial, but had penetrated deep within, causing significant damage to his internal organs. The autopsy left no doubt. It was irrefutable. The evidence pointed unequivocally to a deliberate act of violence, meticulously planned and executed. This was not an accident or natural death, but torture. The injuries were too numerous, too severe, and too deliberately placed to be anything else. The forensic evidence screamed of a systematic attempt to inflict pain and suffering. The findings shattered any official denials, any attempts to downplay the severity of the situation. The sheer weight of the evidence made it impossible to maintain the facade of innocence and became the backbone of the case against the police. The report provided the irrefutable proof needed to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. It was the foundation upon which the entire legal battle would be fought. Public shock followed, a wave of disbelief and outrage sweeping through the community. People took to the streets, demanding justice and accountability. As the report validated the worst fears of Ajith's family and human rights advocates, their suspicions, previously dismissed as conjecture, were now confirmed by cold, hard evidence. The evidence forced authorities to act, compelled by the overwhelming public pressure and the undeniable nature of the findings, leading to immediate suspension and arrest of implicated officers. The wheels of justice, though slow, had finally begun to turn. The autopsy's clinical detail exposed the reality of custodial torture, stripping away any pretense of legitimacy or justification, making it impossible to ignore. The sheer volume of evidence, meticulously documented and scientifically analyzed, left no room for doubt or denial. Without such forensic scrutiny, the truth could have been buried, lost in a sea of misinformation and cover-ups. The meticulous work of the forensic team ensured that Ajith's story would be heard. Ajith's injuries are a permanent record of the state's failure to protect him, a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. A mobile phone video recorded by eyewitness M. Saktheswaran captured police beating Ajith Kumar, turning suspicion into undeniable proof. The footage, submitted by human rights lawyer Henry Tiffany, showed uniformed officers inflicting violence, corroborating the autopsy. The court called the video shocking, making denial by the accused impossible. The video's existence highlighted the courage of Saktheswaran, who risked his safety to expose the truth. Reports suggest a senior officer was present during the assault, raising questions about systemic complicity. The video didn't just implicate individuals, it exposed a culture of impunity. After threats, Saktheswaran sought police protection, underscoring the risks faced by whistleblowers. His bravery spotlights the urgent need for witness protection. The video is both a tool for justice and a reminder of the dangers in holding power accountable. The Madurai bench of the Madras High Court responded with outrage, declaring the local police unfit to safeguard evidence. The court ordered all evidence, including the video, transferred away from the accused officer's colleagues to prevent tampering. A judicial inquiry, led by a senior judge, was launched to ensure independence and transparency. The court also called for witness protection, recognizing the dangers faced by those who speak out. These actions sent a clear message. The judiciary would not tolerate police impunity. The court's intervention set a precedent for handling custodial death cases. Justice, the court insisted, must be protected from those who would undermine it. The tragic death of Ajith Kumar ignited a firestorm of public outrage, sparking widespread protests that reverberated across Tamil Nadu. The news of his death spread like wildfire, galvanizing communities and igniting a collective demand for justice. The streets of major cities and towns became stages for impassioned demonstrations, with citizens from all walks of life uniting in their condemnation of the alleged police brutality. Banners bearing slogans of justice filled the air, a visual testament to the depth of public anger. Civil society organizations, political parties spanning the ideological spectrum, and countless ordinary citizens joined forces, united by a shared sense of injustice and a determination to hold those responsible accountable. The movement transcended traditional boundaries, drawing support from every corner of society. The case quickly evolved into a potent symbol of systemic police brutality, highlighting long-standing concerns about the abuse of power and the lack of accountability within law enforcement agencies. Protesters carried signs demanding an end to impunity and calling for comprehensive reforms to prevent future tragedies. Telepathy. Vijay's TVK, Tamilaga Vetri Kajagam, along with other political organizations, played a prominent role in organizing and mobilizing demonstrations, lending their support to the growing movement and amplifying the voices of the aggrieved. Their involvement added further momentum to the protests, drawing even greater attention to the case. The collective voice of the people grew louder with each passing day, amplifying public anger and creating immense pressure on the government to take decisive action. The demonstrations served as a powerful reminder that the public would not tolerate injustice and demanded accountability from those in power. Faced with mounting pressure from the public and political opposition, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin announced the transfer of the investigation to the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, signaling a commitment to impartiality and thoroughness. In a public address, the Chief Minister promised full cooperation with the CBI investigation and vowed to take strict action against anyone found guilty of wrongdoing, regardless of their position or affiliation. He emphasized the government's commitment to upholding the rule of law and ensuring justice for Ajith Kumar and his family. As a gesture of support, the government offered Ajith's family financial compensation and a promise of employment, aiming to alleviate their immediate hardship and provide a measure of security for the future. However, these gestures were met with skepticism and criticism from activists and some members of the public. They argued that such measures were merely attempts to pacify the victims and quell public anger, rather than addressing the root causes of the problem and ensuring genuine justice. In the wake of the public outcry, administrative action followed swiftly. 5 police officers implicated in the case were promptly arrested and taken into custody, pending further investigation and legal proceedings. Furthermore, senior officers within the police leadership were either suspended from their duties or transferred to other positions, reflecting a recognition of the need for accountability at all levels of the department. Despite these actions, many remained unconvinced, viewing them as insufficient to address the deep-seated issues at play. True accountability, they argued, demanded not only convictions of those directly involved, but also comprehensive systemic reform to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. The message from the public was unequivocal and resolute. They were no longer willing to accept token gestures or superficial changes. They demanded real, lasting change that would ensure justice and protect the rights of all citizens. The tragic case of Ajith Kumar became a powerful rallying cry for broader reform, galvanizing a movement that sought to address systemic issues of police brutality and ensure accountability within the criminal justice system. Ajith Kumar's death is the 24th custodial death in Tamil Nadu since May 2021. A grim pattern, not an exception. Nearly 1 death per month exposes a crisis in law enforcement, where torture and excessive force are disturbingly routine. The cycle persists because previous cases rarely lead to real accountability or reform. Officers often face only suspensions or transfers, fostering a culture of impunity. The reliance on forced confessions over evidence-based investigation perpetuates abuse. High-profile cases like Ajith's briefly spark outrage, but lasting change remains elusive. Without deep reforms, the list of victims will only grow. For Ajith Kumar's family, the loss is deeply personal. A son and brother taken by those meant to protect. Their grief is compounded by the trauma of his violent death and the daunting fight for justice. Offers of compensation and jobs, while helpful, can feel like attempts to silence their pursuit of accountability. The family faces a powerful police institution and a slow, intimidating legal process. Their courage to demand justice is a testament to their love and determination. No compensation can replace Ajith's life. Only convictions and systemic change can honor his memory. Their struggle is a reminder of the human cost of state violence. Human rights institutions moved swiftly. Tamil Nadu's SHRC launched its own inquiry, signaling high-level scrutiny. The formation of a special investigation team and the CBI's involvement ensured independence from compromised local police. Human rights groups like People's Watch played a vital role bringing evidence to light and supporting Ajith's family. These organizations bridge the gap between victims and the justice system, keeping public pressure alive. The combined efforts of SHRC, CIT, CBI, and civil society create a network of accountability. Their oversight is crucial for transparency and justice in cases of custodial violence. Together, they challenge the wall of silence and impunity. Ajith Kumar's death must be a turning point, not just for punishing individuals, but for dismantling a culture of impunity. True justice means convictions, not just suspensions, and a commitment to deep police reform. Training must shift from coercion to evidence-based investigation with zero tolerance for torture. Independent accountability bodies and robust witness protection are essential. The bravery of eyewitnesses like Sakti Swaran must be matched by state protection. The fight for justice is a fight for the soul of democracy and the sanctity of human life. Police stations must be places of safety, not fear. Only relentless accountability and reform can prevent future tragedies.